Hey guys, and welcome to Console Land. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button now and keep coming back for regular updates and console related videos. Today on the channel we're going to be doing a retro review of our Atari 2600 or Woody from 1977. Very popular console this one, with 30 million being sold. Atari was founded by Nolan Bushnell and Ted Dabney in 1972, and they started building popularity in the early 70s with their arcade smash Pong, and later went on to develop this console, the Atari 2600. I've had this in my collection for about 6 months or so now, and as you can see it's very well looked after, comes complete with a box. So let's get into the review and see what we've got. One of the things that I like to look at before we get into the actual proper review is to have a quick look at the dimensions, because I think that's left out quite a lot in some of the reviews and it's quite useful information. So in terms of width, the console is about 34 centimeters wide, which is quite wide actually. In terms of depth, it's 24 centimeters, and in terms of height, it's around 9 centimeters high. So it's quite a low console, but quite wide. So if we take a look at what you get in the box when you buy this particular Atari 2600. You obviously get the console itself, and you get 2 joysticks, and you get 2 of the paddles. Now these paddles are connected to a single lead, so they plug into one port rather than being a port for each joystick. So it's a bit awkward sometimes to use these, particularly if you're on a bit further away than the cable allows, but I don't know why they chose to do that. Who knows, maybe you do know. Comment down below if you do. As you can see, this console is in very good condition, and the box is in good condition as well. In the box as well, which I thought was quite a nice bonus, was these Owners Club official bulletins. So in here there's all information about the Atari and their products and different letters from fans, and it's just a nice little retro touch for the era, and it kind of sets you back. I think maybe what I will do eventually is get these framed. Maybe there's 2 of them. I've got edition 11 and looks like a Christmas edition, which is edition 12. So I think I might get them framed, as I said, and have them on the walls in my room at some point. So many different projects on the go, it's a bit difficult to find time to do everything, but that's what we'll do eventually. So as you can see, as I said, letters from fans and different options that you can buy. The other thing that came with the box, again quite unique I guess, is the Atari dealers list for the local area where they bought this from. I wonder how many of these actual shops are still going and maybe still selling electronics today. Who knows, maybe not that many. So yeah, that's what come in my box at least. So it's quite a nice little touch to have the extra documentation there as well. So now we're going to take a look at the actual console itself. During the 14-year run that the Atari had, there was various different incarnations. This is obviously the original Woody, 6-switcher with the wood grain and the black on top. There was a Darth Vader version that was all black, but this being the 6-switcher has 6 buttons along the top, and the first one of which is the power. Then you have the TV type select, black or white or colour, the difficulty select on the left player and on the right player, and then the game select and reset switch on the end here. So the game select was used for games like Combat, where you had various different modes on each cartridge that you'd had to go through and select what different options you wanted within the game, and when you found what you wanted, you just hit the reset button and the game would start. So that was fairly straightforward. These are what the cartridges look like. This console was bundled with either Combat in the early days or Pac-Man towards the end of its run, but they're all sort of similar looking cartridges with their various different game art on the front, which bear no resemblance to the actual game itself. Consoles itself have the little chips in here that will slot into the actual cartridge slot on the console, and they go in there with a satisfying 1970s and 80s clunk. As that sits in there. It can be quite difficult to get these in on these older consoles now. I'm not sure whether that was a thing of the time or whether it's just as they've got a bit older, but they can be quite difficult to get in and out of the actual cartridge slot. But yeah, so nice looking console. If we take a look at the ports along the back now, Don't forget, this is an AV modded console, so these connections here wouldn't appear on the standard console. They'd have an RF cable that come out of that little slot there, but I prefer the RF mod because I can use them. It makes it functional. Controller ports left and right, and the power connection in the middle to allow you to hook your console up to the mains. Again, don't forget these two connections wouldn't be here. I just used them because mine is now composite out. Quite a simple mod to do. I actually done it on myself, which maybe I'll do a video on in the future. Okay, back around to the front now. If we take a look at the controllers that come as part of the pack now, so you get the standard controllers, again finished in like a textured black, standard Atari controllers. They use the same sort of connection that the Segas did in the 80s. And I'm pretty sure you can actually plug a Sega controller into these and it would actually work. And maybe we'll check that out at some point in the future videos. They also come with these paddles that I mentioned earlier. And again, I'm not really sure why they was fitted on this Y-type cable. But effectively, you'd control the paddle up and down for Pong type games. Just control the up and down motion, and the service button is on the side there for when you serve. They were used in other games, but not that many. I tend to just use the joystick when I'm playing most Atari games. It seems to work well enough, which is fine. So that's the console and the controllers. Let's take a look at some gameplay. One thing I do like about these old consoles are the boxes. In the 70s and 80s there was no internet, and it was the boxes on the shop shelf that would sell the console, and this one definitely doesn't disappoint with the pictures of gameplay on the front and just general lifestyle being sold to you. It's just a great box really. The one thing I will question is this claim here that true to life sound after hearing the gameplay there. Might question that one a little bit, but great console though. In terms of commercial success, this console was particularly successful. It had 30 million sales worldwide across the 14 years that it was in production for. Price tag of $199 in 1977, which is the equivalent of around about 130 to 140 pounds. And that's today's money. That's about $850 or about 700 pounds. So quite a heavy hitter when it comes to price tag. And actually had a lot of domination in the late 70s because there was nothing else out there. The Magnavox Odyssey had kind of died out, and the Odyssey 2 was there but wasn't really doing as well. So it really had its own area of the market there for a good time until the 80s, and the Nintendos and Segas of the day started springing up. In terms of tech spec, again, nothing really to compare it to around about the time, but an 8-bit MOS technology 6507 processor running at 1.19 megahertz. Then the memory was 128 bytes of RAM, and that's not megabytes, that's bytes of RAM. So, for what it needed to do, it done the job and it done it well. So, good console around. Nice to play these days. Very simple, addictive games, and that was the key to the whole thing back then. Well, there you go. That's the Atari 2600 review here on Console Land. Hope you've enjoyed it. Click on subscribe if you have, and like.
And don't forget to come back for more console related content and also our retro review series. We'll see you soon here on Consoleland.